Retirees underestimate the cost and toll of long-term care. According to a recent AARP poll, a large majority of baby boomer women are unaware of what their long-term care needs will be, or how much they will cost, or how they will pay for them. Consider, too, that women generally outlive their husbands by 5 years and often deplete their assets caring for their own parents or spouses. This information gap raises the odds that women won't be financially prepared to live out their final years as they'd wish. Women must realize that they will likely rely on friends, family, and personal savings to pay the national average of $74,000 a year for private nursing home care. An alarmingly high number of women do not know that a significant chunk of their retirement savings will be put toward paying for long-term care. An all too common misperception: 6 in 10 women have no plan in place for how they will pay for long-term care. And 1 in 3 erroneously believes that Medicare will cover the cost. A big part of the problem is that long-term care is still widely misunderstood. Only 40% of women surveyed know that long-term care involves more than just assisted living, or nursing home facility fees, or the cost of a home health aide. In reality, long-term care also applies to adapting your home to meet your needs as you age, learning your health history, and adopting healthy habits to preserve your health, and informing loved ones about your end-of-life wishes. This is an important issue for women, because women are the biggest users of long-term care. But there is a disconnect between what women want and what they are planning for. Family stress often motivates planning. Like many women who have a long-term care plan, Eileen Brock, age 56, of Palm Bay, Florida, devised her long-term care plan after her mother died suddenly, leaving her and her siblings to care for her father with Parkinson's disease. He wanted to live independently, but to do so, the family had to hire round-the-clock home health aides, at an average of $19 an hour. Her father also needed an elevator chair, which had to be installed in order for him to get up and down the stairs. All of this had to be done while Brock's father waited very impatiently, in a nursing home. He had no long-term care insurance. So by the time he passed away, 5 years after his wife died, all of his retirement savings had been depleted. It was not a pleasant meeting that my brother, sister, and I had, when we had to decide on care for my father, says Brock. If these decisions had been made ahead of time, and thought out by our parents, there would have been less strife and fewer bad feelings between the siblings. I never want my daughters to go through that. Brock purchased long-term care insurance, which would help pay for institutional or in-home care for herself and her husband. They then drafted a will, spelling out exactly what medical treatments they want or would refuse, and established power of attorney. During a recent home remodel, the Brocks moved the master bedroom to the first floor and installed wide doorways that could accommodate a wheelchair if necessary. She told her daughters that if she ever can't live on her own anymore, she wants to go into assisted living and not move in with them. I know a lot of people say, well, the state will take care of me. But no, I don't want to go to a snake pit, or some of the less pleasant, Brock says. I want to be the one who chooses. And I want to be able to afford it. Lack of long-term planning. People want to live long lives. They know that they might require care, but they aren't planning for it. Why? Fear, mistrust, confusion, and denial, says Ken Dykewald, chief executive of AgeWave, a consulting firm that studies the aging population. To most people, long-term care solely means a nursing home, and people fear nursing homes. When it comes to planning financially, they don't know whom to trust. They are confused by what Medicare, Medicaid, and long-term care insurance will and won't cover, often thinking they have coverage when they don't. And lastly, they are in denial that they'll ever need that level of care. Long-term care is something far better dealt with years, even decades, before you need it. Denial is unfortunately not a useful reaction. Long-term care insurance enrollment rates highlight this disconnect. The sooner you purchase, the sooner you'll be able to lock in the lowest possible rate. Despite the efforts of long-term care providers to absorb many of the costs associated with COVID-19, as they put their own lives at risk to care for their clients, long-term care costs increased substantially in 2020, particularly for assisted living facilities and in-home care, according to Genworth's 17th Annual Cost of Care Survey. The roots of denial. For women, Dykewald surmises that their denial is rooted in their roles as caregivers. They are so used to taking care of everyone else that they don't think about the day when they will need help themselves. In addition, the marital division of labor still has husbands more likely to be responsible for financial matters. So women may not necessarily feel as confident or certain about making major financial decisions than they'd like to be, or need to be. The lack of planning could also simply be a reflection of the age of those polled, says Kathy Black, assistant professor with the Manatee School of Social Work at the University of South Florida, whose research focuses on health and aging. At that age, people are just caught up in their day-to-day lives, and not really thinking about tomorrow, or who will take care of me. People have this sense of themselves, where they're independent. And it's hard to imagine what life is going to be like without that independence. There are also cultural issues to consider. There are some cultures where you just don't talk about this kind of stuff. People have this inner belief that bringing it up is a bad omen. But if you can get past all these reasons why people don't plan for their futures, you can start ensuring that you maintain control over your elder years. Creating your long-term care plan. Any long-term care plan should include 4 components, says Burns. A plan to make your home safe and comfortable once mobility becomes impaired. A financial plan for paying for long-term care. Learning your family medical history so you can take charge of your health. Taking care of the legal work, wills, powers of attorney, and communicating your final wishes to your loved ones. We know that the 2 biggest triggers for creating a long-term plan are becoming a caregiver and dealing with a chronic illness. But don't wait for an emergency to happen. Try to start planning now and you'll have great peace of mind when the time comes that you have to deal with a life challenge. And if you can't do it for yourself, do it for your family. Plan now because you care about your children and grandchildren. Because if you don't have a plan, if you don't have a financing program in place, it's going to fall on them. And it will be your family that gets damaged by your absence of a plan. Life insurance carriers now offer hybrid long-term care policies. The old kind of life insurance only pays you a benefit after you die. The new kind pays you tax-free cash while you are alive. If you qualified, you may be able to accelerate the tax-free face amount into long-term care benefits under the chronic illness rider. In addition, the policy will provide tax-free cash if you have a terminal or critical illness. The old type of life insurance requires that you die, so that your heirs enjoy the payoff. The new kind of insurance is available to you while you are alive. There is a tax-free pile of cash waiting there for you to help pay for long-term care costs, and may even provide tax-free cash for critical type illnesses. Now you don't have to die to cash in on your hard-earned money. Let's consider the Smiths. They are a 50-year-old couple that pays for $1 million of term life insurance on Mr. Smith. They are interested in having his insurance be there for 20 years and also cover lifetime threats like long-term care costs, terminal, critical, and chronic illness. If he replaced the old kind of life insurance with the new kind, he may also qualify, at age 65, for $12,500 per month of long-term care benefits. If he died while owning the policy, he would pass on a $1 million death benefit of tax-free cash to his heirs. Finding the right policy doesn't have to be confusing. That's where JenniferLangFinancialServices.com comes in. We work with over 20 life insurance carriers, and we can find you the best policy, or long-term care annuity, to fit your needs, your budget, and your goals. Contact us today.